Imagine paying almost nothing for your mortgage every single month because a stranger is quietly covering it for you. That is not a scam, that is house hacking, and people have been quietly getting rich off this idea for decades. The basic setup is almost embarrassingly simple. You buy a property, live in one part of it, and rent out the rest. Your tenants essentially become your mortgage payment, walking through a door you own, handing you money you use to build wealth. Think of it like being the landlord in Monopoly, except you actually live on the board and someone is always landing on your property. The rent they pay chips away at your loan while you build something called equity, which is just the fancy word for the part of the house that is actually yours. A lot of people assume real estate investing is for rich people who already have a second home sitting around collecting dust. But house hacking is specifically designed for first-time investors who want to get in the game without having a mountain of cash first. Here is where it gets interesting. When you live in the property yourself, you often qualify for better loan terms than a typical investor would. We are talking lower down payments, better interest rates, and loan programs designed for people who say, yes, this is my home, even if half of it is someone else's apartment. Let's say you buy a duplex for $300,000, and your mortgage comes out to $2,000 a month. If you rent the other unit for $1,200, you are suddenly only paying $800 out of pocket, less than most people pay for a one-bedroom apartment. Now here is the part nobody puts on the brochure. Picking the wrong tenant can turn your dream investment into a reality show you never auditioned for. Careful tenant selection is not just a suggestion, it is the whole game, because you are literally living next door to whoever you choose. Run background checks, verify income, call references, and do all the boring stuff, because the boring stuff is what keeps your investment from becoming a horror story. The best tenant is not always the first one who shows up excited with cash in hand. House hacking also works with single-family homes, not just multi-unit buildings, because you can rent out spare bedrooms while living in the rest of the house. College towns have been running this model forever, and it works shockingly well when you treat it like a business instead of just a roommate situation. The irony of house hacking is that most people already know someone doing it, they just never called it that. Your uncle who rents out his basement, your neighbor who Airbnbs the guest room on weekends. They are all playing the same game with different names on the jersey. One thing we have to be honest about is that this strategy requires you to be somewhat comfortable with people living close to you, which is genuinely not for everyone. If you love silence, total privacy, and being able to walk to the kitchen at 2 in the morning without seeing another human soul, you might want to think this one through carefully. But if you can handle it, the long-term payoff is remarkable. You build equity month after month, your tenants help pay down your loan, and eventually the property appreciates in value while you have been living at a deep discount the whole time. That is not just smart, that is generational wealth happening in slow motion right under your roof. History is full of people who started with one house hack and ended up owning entire neighborhoods because that first deal gave them the confidence and the cash flow to try another one. You do not need to be a real estate genius, you just need to take the first step and be willing to learn as you go. The system is not hidden or secret, it is just undertaught, and most people never hear about it until they have already spent years throwing rent money at someone else's mortgage. We call paying rent just life, but we never stop to ask whose life it is actually building. So the next time someone tells you homeownership is too expensive, remember there is an entire strategy built around making your home pay for itself. And if you are interested in learning more about moves like this, or want to see what else we cover, go check out our links in the description. Everything you need is right there waiting for you.